Hello again, and welcome to another riveting episode of TJ Draws Ponies, the show where TJ sometimes draws ponies. I just finished watching the season finale, and I thought it would be fun to draw the new Changeling design from it. I suppose it would be King Thorax, or does it have to be a prince, following the old Hasbro rules? But at any rate, the new design for the... what have I gone and done here? The new design for the Changelings. Or I believe the tag on Derpy Brew right now is Changedlings, which is... not sure if that's canon, or what the deal is with that, but it's as good a name as any, right? So, I suppose the most important thing that I took away from it is that it's a very bright, very cheerful design, and the eyes are actually completely solid now, which is unexpected, honestly. Usually, when I see people designing like characters that are more relatable or are supposed to be like cute or desirable in some fashion, usually they go for like having more sympathetic eyes, like big eyes, human-like eyes, or more likely like cats. And if you want to make a character more untrustworthy, give them beady little eyes. And I wouldn't call the old Changeling eyes, relatable or animal-like or sympathetic in any way, but certainly more sympathetic, in my opinion, than beady eyes. But I mean, at any rate, I think the design works. I'm not really entirely certain, of how I'm going to be designing this. Just going off of memory, more or less. I'm pretty sure that he had a fairly strong, confident stature. He was like a big horse. Big old bug horse. Nice sharp horn stuck onto there. And did he have ears? The other ones had ears, but did he? I believe he did, yes. He definitely had the fuzzy little moth-like ears, and it's kind of bashful. I like that. I suppose that's about the closest we're ever going to see, moth ponies showing up in canon. Who knows how many more seasons we have left before the show ultimately peters out for whatever reason. Maybe we'll see it as a Halloween costume or something. Somebody was recently telling me that Rainbow Dash actually was portrayed as a bat pony in the episode, with like all the alternate dimensions. Was that a season finale? I honestly can't remember. It was either a season finale or the beginning of a season. I think it was a season finale. I honestly get really confused. I do not have such a good memory, especially because I usually wait to watch until everything has been released before I watch it. And I think we can add more to this. I'm going to scale it down a bit so we can fit some of Thorax's thorax. But I usually wait until everything has been released, and I tend to sit down and binge watch it. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that there was like some kind of crest here, and I don't know if that was part of his body or what, but well, whatever. As you can tell, I really take my artwork very, very seriously. And by that I mean I'm just barely aware of what I'm doing at any given moment. Now he did... I'm going to make that rump a little more square. He really reminds me a lot of like an elk, Not even just because of the antlers, but just... it's like a ladybug elk creature. And he had a saddle like this. And what else did he have? I mean, he had the wings. I remember the wings. But they were like little shell wings, weren't they? They were like if this was like They were like dragonfly wings, but they were sharper. So if like these are the wings coming out like this, then in like transparency you would see like the shell coming up like that, and I'll shade that in a little bit so I remember what I'm doing. That might be a little tricky, but I'm sure with some coloring we can make that work. I want to make this really cheerful, so I'm going to give those eyes a little bit of a... I don't even know what you would call this, an upturn? Seems strange. Strange choice of words. Do I want it open mouth? Like that? I don't think I do want an open mouth, but I will make a, you know, with the flopping ears going down and like this going up, this going over. I think, yeah, that's good. I like that. Other details. You know, it's embarrassing. I'm having trouble remembering. Did he have a tail? He did have a tail. It was like another wing. I remember. Okay. If I'm forgetting anything else, let me know. But I guess, you know, there's no point actually in letting me know because, you know, I will probably see it. But probably not going to go through the effort of changing it. I'm just kind of a big lazy turd in that respect. Lay down. I want that horn to look good. The horn and the antlers. These are kind of like the parts that I took the most away from. And the eyes. And the facial expression. Okay, like all of it. What were your goals when you were designing this painting? Well, I wanted it to look good. I wanted to have lots of good things and not a lot of bad things. That's been a core design principle since I started doing art. And it hasn't steered me wrong yet. Adding in the eyes here. And one of the things about changelings that I never really understood was exactly what was their, you know, motivation for being, I hesitate to say evil, but like quite so exploitative. Like, you know, if they feed pretty much exclusively on love, and I get that this is basically what this whole character design is kind of like, represents the alternative, the more logical, more friendly, more pony-ish alternative. But you know, like for a race that feeds pretty much exclusively on positive emotions, they mostly seem to rely on exploitation. And I don't mean that in the sense of like they rely on disguising themselves, because it only makes sense that you know, like they would use that to their advantage in various ways, making themselves more appealing or whatever, which is slightly nefarious, I suppose, but, you know, no more so than putting on a nice jacket or whatever, in my opinion anyways. But just like, you know, like Chrysalis, you know, disguises herself as Cadence, right? Locks Cadence up in a dungeon or the caverns or wherever that place was under Canalot. Like, why the directly evil intentions to just, like, I don't know if, like, Shining Armor was gonna die, or, like, what, he looked pretty bad, so, like, it was definitely having a negative impact on him more than just, like, mind control, at least, I think. So, you know, like, I keep coming back around to the question, but why so exploitative? Why so antagonistic? Can't you just, you know, get what you want mutually? Like, I don't know. Again, I get that the, like, Thorax character sort of represents the conclusion to that question, which is, there is no reason why they can't do that. They're just evil, and you know, now they don't have to be evil. So, I mean, I guess that's good enough for me. But just an interesting question, I suppose. There's a lot of things you can think about. in Equestria that, at first you're like, that doesn't really make any sense, and it just kind of bugs you. Or at least it bugs me. But the more you think about it, the more you, begin to think of little tiny, let's be real, they're like headcanon things. They're certainly not canon, and it's totally irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant to the show. At least, in terms of, importance to the plot. And there's usually, again, let's be real, not a lot of plot. Well, not that kind of plot, but we're not gonna go there. Anyways. Put this in. Sorry, I messed up here. I cannot remember if this jewel belongs up or down or in the middle, and I'm just gonna put it in the middle. But anyways, I tend to think up a lot of little headcanon things, and it's nice that I have a comic where I can kind of just, extrapolate on the things that I think about Equestria, or just, say this is an alternate universe, and in my alternate universe this is the case, and just make it the way it is. I've always held firmly in the belief that Earth ponies have a magic that is strength related or something related to tilling the earth, and this is kind of hinted at. Applejack is pretty strong, she can lift up a whole cart back or whatever, and only earth ponies seem to be able to grow food. In the original Hearthwarming episode recap of history, so it's not completely headcanon, but I always considered that to be the case. And so it's nice when you have a little comic of your own to just sort of say, nah, it's not headcanon. This is the headcanon universe where all my headcanons are canon. And really, especially when it comes to stuff that is just more related to your own, original characters do not steal, you pretty much just say whatever goes, even if it's completely ridiculous and makes no sense. You can say, well, it's my comic, so this is the case. A good example I often cite is that in the Horsewife universe, Ranny Bun is bright pink, but she is covered in a thin dusting of peanut butter at all times, giving her the appearance she has. And this makes no sense. It is completely absurd. It's almost disgusting in a way. And yet, it's my character. I can say whatever I want about it. Goodness gracious me. I am having trouble imagining where to put down his little shells. I guess it's like this, and then like this, and then like this. I don't like that. How about like this? I guess that's good. We can erase that. Fix that. Get rid of the sketch so I can see a little better. Put this down. This will be a lot less strong when it's finished. Because it'll be kind of transparent. This one will not, though, because we'll just be looking, directly in on it. But I think this is right. And I'm gonna go ahead and just hope that I can figure that out when I turn the opacity back up. Ooh, pretty messy, but I think it should make more sense when I do the colors. I think I'm happy with this line art. Now for colors, I'm gonna have to. It's not really cheating, but I wanted to do this off of memory, but I think I'm gonna have to look up some colors. Okay, I had to do a little editing. I went and found a screen cap, and I cut a little bit of the colors out. So I got close. I actually think I am going to fix this because it is reasonably far off from what it is supposed to be. So I will change this. I will change the Changeling. put this down. So it's kind of more like a hook. And it's kind of like a chunky, it's not really a crystal so much as like a piece of his body. I mean, it's all a piece of his body, but it's probably more like chitin. Is that how you pronounce it? Like, I don't know, like organic, hard stuff. And then this also give me a chance to look at the wings, but I'm going to do all this wing stuff kind of in coloring, or like post or whatever. So, yeah, that's good, in my opinion. Good enough. Perfect. So, let's see. Again, I'm going to use the patented, super professional TJ Pons method of coloring, which is to take color samples directly from screen caps. And, oops. Oh, jeez, goodness, you know, I never even saved this. Which is bad, because this copy of Photoshop, you know, it just tends to crash all the time. I'm just going to call this Thorax. I'm going to stick it in the Werewives folder. I'll move it afterwards, I guess. Something like that. What do we got here? Should I combine these? I tell you what, I'll copy them. I'm always really paranoid about merging down certain layers. And then I've got my backups. Yeah, perfect. Good. Good, good, good. Let's see, copy this. And guess. Yeah, alright, we'll start with that. Modify, expand 3 pixels. Oops, and it's the wrong color. And I missed part of his horn. Perfect. It's genius, and I never made a single mistake. Please ignore all photographic video evidence of me having made an error. And I'm going to do a little bit of something what I showed when I was just demonstrating the transfer brush. And that's to take little bits of samples of like in between colors as they layer together and just sort of blend them together. Zoom in there and see what's what. I think we can actually erase some of this. I expanded it twice, which means it's getting a little messy, but it looks like the lines are thick enough pretty much all around here to deal with that, more or less. No problem, no problem. You know, part of the artistic process is making mistakes, and I mean, I can virtually guarantee you that anyone who's watching this who's like, you know, really artistically inclined, I was about to say declined, that would be me, but anyone who's artistically inclined, you know, is probably like gripping the screen with a, you know, like a death squeeze and just being like, what are you doing? This is completely wrong. Stop, you're killing it, it's already dead. But those people don't have the power to stop me. And by the time you see this, it'll be too late. So, you know, these are some of the burdens that we have to bear in life. I suppose bears are also a burden that we have to bear. I don't know what that means. And let's see, this is actually the same color here. So like sparkles. Yeah, he does have like these little sparkles. And I'm going to take this sample here. And here's a little another thing I can do, is that, you know, all this is on one layer. And then I make another layer underneath it. So I can just fill it in like that. And I'll just make this a little whiter here. Maybe change that to 30-something%. them all nice and sparkly. Looks like I made a little bit of a mess. Good, good, good. So as it turns out, these little bands or whatever, I cannot remember if on normal changelings they are a different color. I think they are, but I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe it's only Chrysalis that has them, but I don't think that's the case. And his arms, or legs or whatever, are same color as his body. This is like a snazzy little organic vest that he wears, locally sourced. I'll make it a little bit more like that, or like, yeah, sure. Okay. Okay. Stick this down. Put this. Alright, for the carapace, we are looking at... I'm glad, actually, I didn't even think about this, but it's a good thing I captured that, because I drew it a little differently, not stuck out quite so far, which means that... I guess it doesn't really matter that I didn't do that correctly. But I didn't consider the color of the actual underside or top side of the shell that the wings are on. So it's like, I'm just going to select the whole thing and do it by hand and hope for the best. See if I can put all that kindergarten training into effect. And color within the lines. Kind of messed up here again. Just go right around with my old lasso tool and snag all the bits that I missed. Because I forgot that I was going to do like a transparent layering for the wings. So actually I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Do this. This. Whoop. You know, it dawns on me, I don't really follow the upload schedule, and I just went and checked out the episodes because somebody told me that this came out, but I know that there were some leaks, so that makes me wonder, did I, is this even out yet? Because I did not watch this on TV. You know, I found it on the internet. Stick this down. I like how it's like a triple horn. You know, like his antlers are actually horns. They glow with magic. I like these new changelings. They're a little bright. But, you know, I suppose insects are apt to be bright. It's only logical. Okay. And for the wings. Now let's see. There's really no example of them against white. So I have to just guess. But I guess this is the lightest color that we see them against. And I guess that would make them kind of like a light blue. I'm going to make it more like a light purple. We'll see how that works. Yeah, so I tell you what I'll do. I'll actually go over and I'll just select the whole wing, which is like this and this. See, this is where it gets confusing. It's too small to select. Should have worked in bigger resolutions. Too late. Right, and this, pretty much all of this. There's like a little tiny chunk there, but the lines are so thick you can barely see through it. I'll go over it anyways, but yeah. And I will set this to, how about screen? No, I meant soft light. Doesn't look like much now, but you can see it goes over the color underneath it, so let's... Oh, but that means I'm going to have to put a background down. Yeah, no, soft light's not... Maybe just multiply. Yeah, we'll just go with the old multiply. We do have the color of his carapace, but it actually looks like it's somewhat... It's like a two-tone. So I'm going to do that too. Tone. So do this, and this, and then a tiny little chunk here. Why not? Should I do the underside too? What does the underside look like? It's darker. No, I'll do that next. Do like that. So let's see, it goes light to dark from bottom to top. What does that look like? Yeah, it's definitely affecting it. And same idea, set this to like 30-something%. I'll just start going over like this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set that to even less. Oh, wait, I messed it up because I was selecting from the thing when it has the screen over top of it, so I'll have to fix. It's not a big deal. I highly doubt, even knowing that I made that mistake, anyone is going to go combing through. And even if they do, I'll be like, well, I mean, I'm the one who uploaded the video of me doing it, so you didn't really expect me to, you know, have any kind of expectation of hiding it. And it appears that I forgot to expand the selection, which means that this is all borked up. I'm going to go ahead and fix it. Little mistakes. I tend to make a lot of them. But, you know, I don't really draw for any reason other than for myself. I appreciate that, you know, like a lot of people dig my artwork. I like to call it chewing gum artwork because, like, you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, the question ultimately of like, how is it that anyone it sounds like a rude question, but it is legitimate. How is it anyone, you know, really enjoys your artwork at all? Because there's artists that are just like so much better than you, and they put in so much more work, right? And yet they get, you know, they get squat. And I think it's really something of an exploitation that my artwork kind of fulfills. And the reason, and this all kind of ties back to the idea of chewing gum artwork. See, like, because if people offer you, this is the analogy, if people offer you like a 5-course meal and they've like poured their heart and soul into it, if you're not, you know, interested in eating a 5-course meal, you're probably going to turn it down, or you're not going to really like seek it out and enjoy it quite so much. But if somebody offers you chewing gum, even though it's like objectively worse and like takes way less effort, it's just disposable. There's no reason for you to be like, no, I don't want that. I just go, oh, I can't. You know, I'm like, I don't want to seek that out. It's easily shareable. It's easily consumable. You just see it, you go, oh, that's cute, and then you move on. And in that respect, you know, a lot of the popularity that people perceive me having is really quite false. You know, I would really recommend anyone who's looking to get into artwork to follow, like a lot of other artists. Truth be told, concept art is really the kind of artistic community that I consider having their you know, their act together, because they really put a strong emphasis on just practice, fundamentals, skill, no excuses, training. They call it training and stuff like that. And they have their Dark Souls memes about, you know, get good and all this jazz. So, you know, they, like, that's an artistic community that really takes that kind of stuff a lot more seriously. You know what? Now that I'm remembering it, I'm pretty sure that actually I'm completely wrong about these eyes, and that they actually, they not only, first of all, they were a little bit more intense than that screenshot is showing, so I'm going to fix that, but he did have eyes, like eyes, like pupils. I'm pretty sure he did, which is totally fine with me. But yeah, concept art is a community that really puts an emphasis on self-improvement, and honestly, I think it's quite healthy. You know, a lot of people, they suffer from like kind of a self-defeating, kind of self-flagellating, degrading kind of language. You know, and I see it as it's kind of like a defensive mechanism, but ultimately, you know, a little bit of that is healthy. In my opinion. I mean, everything in balance, don't get me wrong. But some introspection, to sit down and just be like, just be honest about your artwork. Don't get too caught up in yourself, you know, like there's a line. I think that's good sometimes. I'm having trouble on that topic. I'm struggling to achieve these eyes. Should I just maybe stop trying to make them like soft and just go for like a hard eye line thing, whatever, language, words? Yes, I think I should. Yeah, good enough. You know, somebody once told me that the scariest thing about flying is the number of times they've heard an engineer say the words, good enough. I think that rings true in a lot of kind of things in life. I mean, to get anywhere, that's kind of cute, I like that. It doesn't 100% make sense, but I'm going to keep it. I like it. It's good. To get anywhere in life, you know, you gotta eat dirt. You gotta fall down. You gotta have moments where, like, you just, you know, you just want to cry, and you're just like, I just can't hack this. You know, I'm just not good enough to take on what life is throwing me now. And, you know, at that moment, you know, truth be told, you probably aren't. You know, you're not ready to take on those things. But you get through them. You suffer through these things, and the next thing you know, you're forced to make a choice between just straight out giving up, you know, and saying like, I'm done. Basically just lie there and wait to die. You know, like just lay down on the pavement halfway there from grocery shopping when you got a headache or something, some kind of, you know, test of your patience and your determination, or just keep going, because those are ultimately the only two choices you have. And I find that, you know, after you pick yourself back up from that failing, you become a stronger person, and it allows you to do things that you just never thought that you could do, and they come as easily as things that you always knew you could do. I mean, I'll give an example. You know, I got a new job maybe about half a month ago, and part of it was driving. Now, I used to drive in my old city all the time. I've owned a car or a truck since, you know, I was in high school. But, you know, after moving to a new city, you know, I just took transit everywhere. And it was never really a big deal to me, because I just always positioned myself in a way that, you know, I could get to places that used transit. But ultimately, when I was faced with, you know, like a job opportunity that required me to absolutely take a job where you have to drive constantly in and around the city, you know, it scared me, and I thought, like, I'm going to get in an accident, I can't do this, you know. And the first time that I took my driving test, I failed it. I absolutely bombed it. I was a terrible driver, and it was, you know, devastating. It was totally upsetting, sucked. But again, you're presented with that choice of keep going or give up. And again, having no choice but to keep going, I practiced driving. I took a flight to visit a relative, and they let me drive their car around for a couple of weeks while I caught up with them and had a little downtime and stuff like that. And I learned how to drive, and now truthfully I really enjoy driving. I bought a car. It's not a nice car, but actually the cigarette lighter, not that I smoke, but the cigarette lighter just like stopped working today. I just noticed. I'm like, oh crap, now I'm gonna have to remember to charge my phone all the time, because that's pretty much what I use it for. But I enjoy driving quite a lot, and the job that I have is very fulfilling. And I think coming back to like one of the scary realizations you have is that everybody in the whole world is just exactly like that. They're just normal people who have just eaten so much dirt, not literally, but like just hit the ground so hard so many times and pick themselves back up and just work until eventually, just a person exactly like you is like a doctor, or he's like the person who's like fixing your car. The whole world is just made up of people who probably all feel, at least to some degree, that they're just pretending to be adults. And I guess, that's scary in a way, but it's kind of sweet. I don't know. It means to me, at the very least, that like there's a lot of potential that humans have, and something that holds us back is a feeling like that we're imposters, and that we'll get caught not being like the real deal. At any moment, somebody's just gonna bust in the door and be like, hey, that guy's not qualified to be here, he's just pretending to do all the things necessary for this job. He's just doing the job and hoping no one discovers that he's not allowed to do this job. But of course he is, because that is the job. There's no extra layer to it. I'm having a little bit of trouble figuring out what to do about how hard these lines are. You know what, I guess I could set it to normal and then set the opacity down, I think, maybe. And I could... Oh, but see, that doesn't work. Oh. I could get the original copy of... Uh-oh, did I mess myself up? So there's that, and then there's this. Oh no, they merged them at some point. Didn't I? Or did I? No, okay. So how about I just put these back up here. And this is set here. Put this over top. Put this over this. Oh no, wait. Put this over here. Yes! That's exactly what I was looking for. And maybe... I set it to multiply? No, same problem. So, set this to normal, and how about I duplicate it? And set that to multiply, maybe. What does that look like? A little bit more vibrant. How about overlay? No, worse. Hard light? No. Lighten. Linear burn? I almost kind of like linear burn. Oh, dissolve, perfect, very artistic. Gotta love that TV static effect. No, okay, multiply it is. And, I'm gonna make it a little darker, I think. So, change the hue slightly, up the saturation, and lower that. Yeah. And let's see, the effect of the wings. I guess it's a little bit like insect wings and dragonfly wings, but more akin to like almost like bird wings in a way. kind of looks like. Oh, I suppose I should. I'm just gonna do a layer, like a normal layer, and set the opacity. Oh, you know what? I'll do this, and then set the opacity to the layer itself. So what do they look like? They look like this. I'll do some cleanup afterwards, and maybe like this. Does it just end? Yeah, it doesn't have to end quite in a tapered feather. Although it's more like that down at the bottom, but I guess that should be okay. Yeah, oh well. Can't win them all. So then I'll, set this. Oop. Clean that all up. It's a little hard to see, but good guess. This doesn't belong here. This is okay. This, and this. Well, it's not beautiful, but it works. Oops, and I just created a big arrow pointing up. Why not? Oh, and tail, yes. This lighter. This, oops. Normal opacity 50%. Jeez. Guess it'll just have to be white. And what is this? What layer is that on? It's on this layer. So I can fix that by doing this. And you know what? This coloring is sloppy. It's not that much better, but every little bit counts. Fill that patch in. And these back on. And then there's little sparkles. And I will just put them down on a layer on top, I guess. That works. Like so. Kind of make it more like a tapered effect, sort of, where they're a little more sparkly towards the tips and a little bigger sparkles at the bottom. Yes, indeedy. Fine and dandy, like sour candy. Okay, and let's do some shading. So I'm going to create a clipping mask for this, because what a clipping mask basically does is, I'll just give a raw example. I'll just take this big vibrant red, and the layer here is just a layer that I created and put it on top, and I went create clipping mask, and it will not show up anywhere that there isn't color, but anywhere that there is, or sorry, any part of this layer here, it will show up. So you can just change the whole color of whatever you want. And this is sometimes useful for, like, if you want to like tint something a certain color, like now I've made him more like an orangey character. It's actually kind of pretty in a way. But for this I'm going to create I'm going to make like an orangey brown sort of light and set this to multiply. That's kind of dark. A little lighter. And just kind of put down a really basic bit of light direction. I might change the shade of this after I finish, but I want to see what it looks like when it's completely done. There is a layer that is unchecked for his... Yeah, there it is. I was like, I know that his little neck gems are light, but they're not that light. Yeah, see, definitely, like, it totally spoils the coloring of his tail to go over like that. So that's something like there, and then maybe kind of bring it down. And on the underside of this horn, so it's kind of like the light's coming in from over here. And would there be kind of like that, or would it be more like this, or like this? Looks a little silly. How about like this, or even better, like, yeah, maybe. What if I followed the curvature of the little hook there a little more carefully? I like this. But let's maybe change it to like a bluish sort of color so it doesn't affect the tail so much. It's quite vibrant. Make it a little lighter maybe. Yeah, I sort of like that. Kind of like a pink color actually. Okay, we can go with that. But it didn't affect the wings because the wings are separate. I wonder if I should just leave them as is. Or even better, just get rid of that. I don't know. The wings are darker. I'm going to leave the tail being kind of weird, like the way it is. Somebody will figure it out. Some psychologist. Ponyologist. And for the background, I'm thinking maybe like pinks and whites, and blues. I'm just gonna do like a soft kind of maybe add some hearts in there or something. That's always cute. Adding like dots. I tend to like blur these things out quite a lot. Just like work really generally. Just see what fits my fancy. How about a really dark regal blue like this? Ultramarine, I guess is the word. I don't know. I kind of like that. I could just kind of do like clouds, I guess. Yeah, you know what? I like this. Just kind of a weird, random pattern. And I'll soften it up with a little bit of Gaussian blur. Not too much, because there's a little bit of texture in there I like. And how about some sparkles or some variety? Just do this. Or like this. That's just a plus sign. Oh no, and I put it directly on there. Ooh, I hope I can undo. I can. I tell you what, let's cheat. We'll make a new layer. We'll make a big old sparkle. Just like this. Never been very good at drawing stars, and you know something that I've never been able to figure out. And I have a friend who's really good at making paper planes. So like, I kind of envy that. But like, I just can't fold things into like segments. Like half is easy because you just like line up the sides of the paper, but like dividing things into like segments or like cleanly is just agony for me. I just suck at it. I'm really bad at it. I remember like being in like senior year high school, like an arts class or whatever, and I was like the only person who couldn't figure out how to fold something into thirds. Although to be fair, that same friend was like doing origami, and we had to like Google how do you fold something into thirds without a ruler? And the answer is like a little bit complicated. It's not so complicated you couldn't do it, but complicated enough that it involves a little bit of math and some forethought and some reference lines too. Although truthfully, if it was me, I'd probably just get the ruler. It's still not quite shrunk down enough to hide the laziness of filling it in. Should not have tried to cut corners. But I think if I even take it, I just make it a little smaller and cut it out, paste it around. Looks pretty cute. Sparkly. Make them smaller. And I noticed that there's a little bit of something sticking out right there. Well, I think this is pretty good. I'm going to add a heart to it. Nice big old pink heart. Because he is a love bug, and love bugs need love. And then I'm going to call that done. So, expand, put a layer up. Boy, look at these layers, it's something of a mess. Oof, a little bit of something on the bottom here. Make this. Oh good. You know, art is important, guys, but there is a new version of CC Cleaner available for download. So, you know, put that into perspective. You know, think about the things that really matter. Like annoying push notifications that interrupt your video. I wonder, you know what, this is like totally just like a last minute addition, but would it improve the picture to add a little tongue sticking out? Like a cheeky little tongue. Maybe use this as a... No, I'll have to do it like this. Will not improve the picture. It was worth a shot. It's kind of cute, but not quite. Let's move the heart. Oops, where's the heart? Over here, maybe. Up here. Yeah, up there, I think. Alright, I'm going to call that mission accomplished, and thanks for joining me on this episode of TJ Draws Ponies, the show where sometimes TJ draws ponies. Catch you later.